हिस्सेदारी।
अगर एक परिवार में एक बेटी है, एक बहू है, एक सास है, तो तीनों के अकाउंट में हजार हजार रुपए आएंगे। ये दुनिया के इतिहास का सबसे बड़ा महिला सशक्तिकरण कार्यक्रम होने वाला है।
Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. As the election season nears, the big players are drawing the battle lines and their election strategies to optimize their campaigns and gain a foothold in every vote bank. One such group of voters, which has always been an X factor and cultivated by political leaders, is women. We have seen in elections in both in Bihar and Bengal recently, where women voters propelled Nitish Kumar's campaign at the helm of the NDA, securing 38% of the vote, while in Bengal, Mamata's sweep was propelled by a whopping 50% of female voters showing their support for the TMC Supremo. Now, with elections in Uttar Pradesh and Punjab, netas are making the same pitch. Priyanka Gandhi has promised 40% of Congress tickets in Uttar Pradesh to women candidates, something her political rivals have called mere tokenism, as the party is in the 4th spot. Her party has not made a similar pitch in Punjab, where they are in power, but Arvind Kejriwal has promised a social welfare scheme of 1,000 rupees every month to each woman above the age of 18. He says the state's coffers have the funds, but the mafia Raj endorsed by previous governments has derailed the agenda of social justice. But Kejriwal is not the only player in Punjab playing the same card. The Shirmani Akali Dal has promised 50% government jobs for women and 2,000 rupees every month to female heads of blue card families. Back in Uttar Pradesh, the BJP is banking on law and order under the Yogi government to woo female voters. The party is also planning massive outreach drives to highlight the beneficiaries of multiple state and central schemes, which are primarily targeted at women. These leaders who have cultivated their vote bank have done so while in power and over years of outreach via multiple schemes. Can the same playbook be mobilized by mere promises, or do female voters demand solid track records? Do promises have to be coupled with trust in the political brands to get female voters on their side? Joining me on the show, Radhika Ramaseshan, Consulting Editor, Business Standard; Sanjay Kumar, Professor CSDS; Dr. Amiben Yagnik is Member of Parliament of the Congress Party; Shazia Ilmi is of the BJP; Reena Gupta representing the Aam Aadmi Party. Amiben Yagnik, going to begin with you. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has made a promise in UP. You are in power in Punjab. What about women in Punjab? Will they also get something similar to what has been promised in UP of 40% reservation in tickets?
Well, Priyanka Gandhi is the General Secretary of the UP state, and she has promised 40% tickets to women. Giving this opportunity itself is a big thing, making empowerment a plank for women in UP. Well, when the Punjab elections will be there, and you will see that there is going to be sufficient opportunities for women, which the Congress is going to provide. But to say that right now, what would be the number or percentage? Well, it is not very easy to tell me right now the exact number. But Congress has always been for opportunity giving to women and not something like a poll plank, which other parties are taking into consideration and pitching their voice on that.
Okay.
They are not promising any tickets or any decision-making power or empowering women. Priyanka Gandhi has come out with this opportunity to be given to women in a state where women do not venture to come out and take part in democratic processes or come out and say that
Okay,
yes, we
then
would like to be
then
a
then
part of
Sanjay
this
Kumar and
governance
Radhika,
model.
I'm going to ask first this question to Sanjay Kumar. Sanjay Kumar, women-centric schemes for wooing women or promise by Congress to have quota in tickets. What do you think works better for women in the long run?
Very difficult to say what works in favor of women in the long run. I think the quota system doesn't work in favor of women in the long run. And why I'm saying that? Because we know that there are quotas for different sections of societies in different spheres. And there is always this criticism that the benefits of the quota is being reaped by only a small number of people, and it doesn't reach to the larger sections of that community. I think if there is a quota fixed for women in the parliament and state legislative assembly, this is what is going to happen in the long run also. All these benefits will be cornered by women belonging to some political family, and it will not be, the common women are not going to benefit out of that. So I think it is better to have quota within the political party, making it mandatory for political party to give tickets to X percentage of women candidates. I'm not saying that this is going to be a foolproof arrangement, but at least this is going to be a better compared to reserving seats for women in state assemblies and parliament.
Okay, so we have to move beyond tokenism. Before I get other political representatives, a quick word from you, Radhika. There are changes that are being brought by various political parties. BJP, for example, in UP is focusing on safety and security for women. There are tailor-made campaigns and points in election manifestos which talk about how needs of women will be catered with. Do you think these are needed, which has to be more substantive rather than just promises that are being made, SOPs that are being announced?
Yeah, you took the examples of Bihar and West Bengal right in the beginning. Now, in Bihar, it worked. Nitish Kumar was able to mobilize the votes of women in a big way. And so was Mamta. However, the contexts were completely different. And therefore, it is important to stress on the context. In the context of Bihar, it was about bringing the prohibition policy because alcoholism, drinking hit women the most. I mean, domestic violence and, having to sacrifice a good portion of the family budget on alcohol. I mean, there were various fallouts, the impact on children. I mean, all in all, it was not a happy situation, and therefore that particular policy worked. In the case of West Bengal, there was a perception that Mamta was being dissed by the opposition. And this woman chief minister, I mean, who probably symbolized various facets to women. And so therefore, she was able to build a wave of sympathy in her favor in Bengal. Now, you talked about law and order. Now, as far as law and order is concerned, Mayawati, as the woman chief minister, delivered quite well on law and order. And if you spoke to even non-Dalit women then, even today, they say that law and order management was good in Mayawati's time. And yet, it didn't pay her in the elections. I mean, even women voted on caste lines. Yadav women for the Samajwadi Party, minority women went one way, and so on. It didn't work. So I am still not sure whether law and order as a plank will
or is it, or what really works then, welfare-centric schemes, or these are formulas which has almost come up. Arina, this is a formula, what you have just announced in Punjab. This is a formula that won Aam Aadmi Party 2020 Delhi, when women chose you for free bus rides, subsidized water and electricity. But will Aam Aadmi Party go beyond these women-centered promises to ensuring the real change? The real change will be when women get higher representation in women assemblies, in assemblies.
Absolutely, Maria. All of these things need to happen, and let's not call this as formula or tokenism. Women are more than, women are 50% of the society, and I think what we've announced today, this is good governance, good politics, good economics. I mean, you talk to any specialist, they'll tell you that direct cash transfer in the hand of women is one of the best development schemes that anybody can think of. And what we did in Delhi, the free bus ride for women, also showed us that women were actually able to come out of their houses, travel to a slightly further away area, and get better employment. We've done several impact studies in Delhi which have shown that the participation of women in the work sector has increased as a result of the free bus scheme. And even this even what we've seen, Maria, after COVID is that almost 60 to 70% of the population in the country has
Yes.
become very vulnerable. So giving this direct cash transfer in the hands of women is the best thing that any government can think of doing. There have been studies which have shown that if women get the money, they actually spend it more on essential needs of the family. And whereas sometimes when the money gets credited in the account of the men, then it's spent on issues which are not essential for the family. So I think this is very, very good politics, and we should welcome
Okay,
that.
so this is good
and I hope
politics
that other
according to Aam Aadmi Party. But Shazia Ilmi, you are in power in UP. Help us understand, how will you counter what Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has announced?
So, for instance, I mean, I first would like to take on what the previous speaker, predecessing speaker was saying. I mean, it's really a shocker that Aam Aadmi Party does not, even for the Women and Child Development Ministry, even for the Women's Ministry, does not have a single minister in the Delhi government. It is really, really sad that even for tokenism, you could not have a woman's face there. So I know a little something about it, because I think Reena came much after I had left. So I know a little something about it, about the little boys band that the party is. So I think the less said the better. And as for BJP, we've already had for many years internal committees called the Sushma Swaraj Committee. So we've already had an internal system. If you see our national executive, it's perhaps I mean, it's weighed so fantastically when it comes to women there. And when it comes to the big five in terms of within the cabinet, I think it's perhaps the first time that somebody like Nirmala Sitharaman, whether it's defense or finance, has enjoyed that position, because earlier it was only Indira Gandhi herself who kept that for, and also that too, somebody, who does not have any kind of lineage or political patronage. So I think that says a lot about BJP, and you just see the share of women ministers from across, whether it's lesser known states which are never represented, like the northeast of India.
No, but talking about elections in particular, Shazia, going forward, there are 5 states going to polls in which 4 of them you are direct stakeholders. You are a player there.
We don't have to. So whether it's the Ujjwala scheme, which has really changed the lives of women, whether it's the basic thing, open defecation, making India open defecation free, which I think the biggest flagship program. I mean, people have their choices, but I think it makes such a huge difference to every woman's life, calling it Izzat Ghar. What 10 crores, 85 lakh new toilets in India, how it's transformed the lives of every woman who needed them, every girl. I think that says so much about the Prime Minister and his vision and how he thinks about women.
And on News Epicenter also, the 3 representatives that I have from the 3 political parties are all women as well. So we have also ensured that there is proper representation of women on the show as well.
Overall, I think so you don't have to be a woman to be a repository, but you don't have to be a woman to have women-centric schemes. You have to make schemes in a way that benefit women. And so that's why people like Modi ji, people like Nitish ji, and even I would also call Mr. Naveen Patnaik. Women always have been voting for them for years and years. Because the schemes are
you have to walk the talk. What you promised in UP, how will you ensure that it is implemented in Punjab? Because in UP, you're party number 4. In Punjab, you are in power. If it is about sincerity, then display it.
I have already told you that we are at number 4 in UP, and we are not talking about that if we come to power, we will come with welfare schemes and we will do this direct cash transfer.
You have talked about free smartphones for all class 12 pass girls, e-scooty to graduate girls. There are several such promises that have been made which are very women-centric. My question is that you have a chance to show it in another state.
No, because UP women need to come out, women need to take part in the participatory democratic processes, and that is what opportunity giving. Any party that comes to power is going to come with welfare schemes. I heard just now someone say that post-corona women have been down as far as economic situation is concerned. Why wait for power? You are already in power, Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. Why don't you start straightway? Why are you waiting for getting power in another state?
Why don't you talk about what you've done in Punjab?
You do not have a vision.
Why don't you tell us what you've done in Punjab?
That they will give 40% tickets to women. Well, they're bringing the women in mainstream. The BJP spokesperson here knows that they have a large mandate. Why are they not going for reservation bill in the legislative
So
assemblies
yeah,
and parliament?
okay, fine enough. You have two questions, one to Reena and one to Shazia. Reena, first to you.
What is the question, Maria? I missed the question.
Amiben Yagnik is saying that what are you doing for women in Delhi? Why are you waiting to grab power in another state?
Why did he not answer your question about what he's done for women in Punjab? But I can answer for Delhi because we've done a lot. And just to tell Shazia, I've been part of Aam Aadmi Party right from the day of inception. So for women in Delhi, all our schemes in Delhi, Maria, whether it's the free electricity, the free water, the free bus ride, the good schools, the good hospitals, all of those are benefiting women. And the real question is that why don't we have the women's reservation bill? BJP is in power. Why don't they enact the women's reservation bill? There can be nothing better than that for the upliftment and empowerment of women in this country, but to have the women reservation bill. The same arguments were made when we had, the 76th Amendment and the reservation for women in Panchayat. Oh, there'll be just
Rima, why can't you have a
candidates and
single
all of
woman
that.
minister? Why don't you have a single woman minister in the
Shazia,
cabinet?
Can I complete?
No, Martin, you didn't answer my question.
No,
Why don't you
no.
have a single woman
Let me
minister
complete. I did
in your
not
cabinet?
interject. Shazia, have the decency, Shazia. Have the decency to listen. So why don't we have the women's reservation bill? I think the movement in the Panchayat has shown us very well that women, when they are put in positions of power, you have the women's reservation bill, and then all political parties will be forced to put up more.
That's what I'm saying. So many women.
Why don't you do
have
that?
women MLAs. Why don't you make a woman? That's what I'm asking you. When women have shown this thing, they have so many
why don't you
women
answer?
MLAs. Why don't you give them the chance to make a minister?
Bill,
exactly
Shazia.
my point.
Why are you not enacting
exactly
the
women's reservation bill? I'm just asking you the same
Why
question.
don't you do that?
I'm asking you the same
I'm
question.
also asking you the same question.
So when there's so many women MLAs, why can't you give them an opportunity?
Fine. Shazia, the question is about women reservation bill. What is the BJP doing for it? And Reena, why is there not even a single woman in the Council of Ministers of Ms. Arvind Kejriwal?
Maria, I'm asking her that, I personally, I don't believe I've written against about women's reservation for many years, but I'm asking her, so many women MLAs have won their seats. Why can't they have one woman worthy of becoming a minister?
And that's
why are you so patriarchal?
That's an image that you'll have to explain. It
stares
stares on your face.
Why don't you answer
for all the talks of women empowerment, that's the real power that you have to give to the women for their representation. That hasn't happened. Reena, 30 seconds to you, please, quickly.
The real power. What do you mean?
Maria, let's
have them in the executive is the real power. No, Maria, I don't agree.
No, that is a question that I'll ask, and I'm going to ask that question to Shazia Ilmi as well. What happened to women's reservation bill?
No, but like I personally said, I personally don't believe in women's reservation.
No, but your party has to take a stand on women's reservation bill. They have been in power for 7 years.
No, I'm telling you personally. But I'm saying we have in our party itself, we've had a reservation. And there's been internal committee. I mentioned Sushma Swaraj committee. So in the national executive, the highest
women reservation
of
in
women
parliament.
in the national committee of any party has been in the BJP.
What happened to that?
Look at the cabinet. Look at the cabinet of this time of BJP. Highest number of ministers. That's the real power.
How many women MPs are there from
look at the legislatures?
Let me go back to the two experts on the panel and let me bring Sanjay Kumar now. Sanjay Kumar, women as homogeneous voting bloc. Is that something like that? Because can women really rise above caste, religion or other identities and vote as women on the basis of the gender identity? Are there instances such as this?
I hope that this is how women start voting. If there is a political party which takes up the women cause, they should be rallying behind that party. But unfortunately, this is not happening. This has not happened at all. And that is why in the past, political parties have never given proper attention to the women voters. Slowly and gradually, this has started happening, but this is a very late beginning. We have seen women voters rallying behind the party which is headed by a women leader. So that has happened in case of Trinamool Congress because it is headed by, we all know, Mamata Banerjee. When Jayalalitha was alive,
Yes.
women vote used to swing in favor of Jayalalitha's party. Mayawati also gets a little advantage among the women vote. But to say that women voters rise above caste consideration and any other consideration and vote as women voters, I don't think that's happening. And if at all it happens, it will take a long time. But I think slow beginning. A beginning is slow, but its beginning has started taking place.
So, when you're saying that this trend, women vote for women, or do they vote for SOPs that are announced, which are very women-centric?
So it would be very difficult to figure out when women vote as women. Is it only because of the policies which are announced by the party which is in power? I think it is more to, there must be some element of that, but it is more to do with the leader of that party, the party which is the leader which is heading the party, because I can see the examples of the three political parties which has an advantage among women voters for the last 2-3 elections. And all these three parties have been headed by women leaders. So I think it is an attraction for the leader who is heading the party rather than the policies, because there are political parties which are in power, which have come up with policies and programs in order to, especially for women. But those parties have never got huge advantage among the women voters.
Okay, let me give the final words to the woman on the panel, and that is Radhika here. Radhika, we have talked about the pink voters or the Mahila voters and Mahila becoming a factor election after election in various contexts, be it in Jayalalitha's victory in Tamil Nadu in 2016 or Nitish Kumar's return to power, beginning with 2015 Bihar. And also recently, Mamata Banerjee, just recently. When you travel and you see, battleground states, what is it do you think drives women? Is it safety, security? Is it women-centric schemes? Is it welfare in general? Or is it about ensuring that they are empowered?
Yeah, unfortunately, women tend to get influenced by the male members of the family even today. I mean, you just have to watch how the panchayats where
Yes.
women are elected under the reservation quota are run. It's all about Panchpati or Panch Sasur or Panch Pita, mostly. I mean, there are cases of empowerment, and here I'm talking especially about Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. So if that is the case, then it's a long haul before women emerge as a separate voting category. You do see instances of it in, say, Tamil Nadu, even in Karnataka. I mean, Karnataka is a pioneering state
Yes.
in reservation at the panchayat level. You have seen it in Bihar, you have seen it in West Bengal, and to a small extent in Uttar Pradesh. But generally, women tend to get influenced by the male members of the family. But I am very glad that women are being flagged in a big way in the coming elections. This has not happened before in such a concerted way. People talked about the Dalits, about the backward castes,
Yes.
about the minorities, even
Yes.
about the upper caste. But this is the first time women as a voting category are being discussed and being flagged by political parties. So
Okay.
this itself is a welcome development.
All right. Certainly, it's a welcome development. Thank you so much for joining us, Radhika Ramaseshan, Sanjay Kumar, Dr. Ami-Ben Yagnik, Reena and Shazia Elmi. Of course, we will continue to discuss this because just about every party is announcing something or the other for women as voters. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.